a lot of people don't do them.
I've done it too many times.
Like, well, honest. I think I learned it at a great conference. Action.
I said, so. That's that toss. He's not. Let's see. Watch. And we say, we get things strong. You know that I'm trying to have a little bit of what's the best? What is the
We went to the couple.
Well, I lived in North Carolina for 2 years, so every house you had 5 touchdowns. If you cross them, you get fined. Everybody was serious about this thing. Actually, it's. I think first we have to the person who the company. Oh, boy. I won't be here long. She's back in the they don't take that big stand. Oh,
Yeah. You know, just another minute. Undefeated. Every year, kids get sent home a little pro.
Say snitches.
Is it the last call?
You ran up. You know, you want to see you.
No.
I guess I would recover from like a year of time. Really hard thing. No. It's super. The first year that we still listen. Somebody's coming in.
The mother wants to.
Yeah, so it's a 2-lane road. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, I forgot to change the name.
Thank you.
Yeah, change. No, that's right, Dave.
Is it?
Yeah, it is June.
June.
I don't know where I'm at.
Tell people it's just transit, it's not. I got that Sunday night. Sunday morning. We'll check and survive you. Turkey. This is Cyprus. Too good. Too little bit of English. And it's 30 bucks.
Give another minute. We'll start at 7:05.
Will you go with the wind?
Tony, does that look familiar?
Do what?
Does that look familiar?
No.
Yeah. You don't even know.
Well, I thought it might
I
be.
saw you pulling that off Astro Man. That AI stuff is amazing. All right, we'll go ahead and okay. All right, everybody. Does anybody want to wait for him to come back? All right, welcome to our member meeting. I'm Tom Beckerman, the current president of BSAS. Thank you for coming today. What we're going to do today is we kind of, push this as the workshop for telescopes, since last time was more of a let's learn about telescopes event, and we didn't get much time to do any workshopping. So if you brought your telescopes, feel free to stick around and set them up after our little meeting today. If there are no telescopes, then it's going to be a quick night. I've got a couple Dobbs in the car if people want to see or borrow some Dobbs, because they're from the club. And so if you're interested in borrowing a 8-inch or a 6-inch Dobb, feel free to come by and grab me. I also have one of these in the car. This is not mine, not Tony's either, but this is Tony's picture over here. Very well done. Captured from one of these little guys. This is from the Dwarf Lab website, and a little Dwarf 3 glamour shot. So pretty nice there. So as I was looking at that, last week we talked about telescopes, and you look at that and you go, is that really a telescope? And because people are like, where do you look through? And I go, my phone. And I show them my phone. I'm like, yeah, you can see it. Yeah. But then they go, well, is it a telescope or is it a camera? And so in my naivete and just kind of interest, I Googled telescope, an optical instrument designed to make distant objects appear nearer, containing arrangement of lenses or of curved mirrors and lenses by which rays of light are collected, focused, and the resulting image magnified. Doesn't matter how you look at it. That's what I was interesting. I was like, oh, yeah, see, so it is a little telescope. So hooray for that. All right. So we'll go ahead and get things started. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look over the minutes put out in the clips of the last board meeting as well as the last member meeting. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the happenings of the club in the public eye and behind the scenes? All right. The member report, I don't see Keith. I looked before I came here. We're at 239 members. And I know Theo is out of town, so I grabbed my little scrapbook for our current money. We have 8,399 in the bank, in checking, 681.44 in savings. And I believe we still have a little bit, a little bit more in PayPal. I didn't write that number down, but that'll be soon transferred over. We did pay for storage, as well as some money going out to do some work on our equipment and things like that. Our socials are doing pretty good. We'll look over those here in a minute. And let's see. Just coming up business. Our next member meeting is July 16th. It's the third Wednesday of every month. It'll be here on Zoom. It's also streaming to YouTube. So if you wanted to share it with your friends, like, hey, check this out, send them the YouTube link. I was going to put the next board meeting up here, but I wanted to make sure that we were meeting on the first Monday, which is really close to the 4th of July, but it looks like we will. So our next board meeting is the first Monday of next month, so July 2nd. So if you have any questions on, how the club runs or anything like that, or want anything brought up to the board, definitely let me know. As always, if anybody has any Star Party locations that they'd like to recommend, or speakers that they'd like to recommend, or even topics, let us know, because my brain kind of runs out of ideas. And so with that, we get a lot of telescope workshops. So if you got any ideas, let me know. All right, just a little bit about us. You can find us at bsasnashville.com. This is our homepage. A lot of really cool things on here, which I've started kind of going through. What I really like on here is this clear sky chart. And this is the first time I think I've seen 2 darkish days in a row, like potentially coming up, right? So at the bottom of that website, this clear sky chart, and the darker the better, right? Because we want dark skies so we can see the bright pointy things from bright fuzzy things if they're if you can, as accessible as possible. Um, as luck would have it for myself, I'm heading out of town Friday morning. So hooray. That's probably the reason why it's clearing up for me, for you guys anyway. So it's a pretty cool feature. It's always good to prepare and see what you're going to be dealing with whenever you go out. I like to point out that hopefully that smoke is dissipating. I went out to Fall Creek Falls last week and tried to do a little bit of imaging out there, and there was definitely a haze going through because of that smoke coming down last Thursday. So hopefully that's clearing up. A couple other things on here. If you're new to the club, you probably know about this, but if you're visiting or you're just interested in astronomy, there's a couple things on the website that we like to point out here. Hello? Okay. Here we have on our website this become a member link. If you click on that, it'll take you to this little page here where you can see what benefits there are. We have the newsletter that I mentioned earlier. It has a couple articles in there as well as the minutes from the meetings. We get discounted subscriptions to some really cool magazines like Astronomy and Sky and Telescope, membership in the Astronomical League, which you get another newsletter if you're interested. You get a vote in BSAS elections, so you can vote me out, and invitation to private star parties. And so, as we'll talk about a little bit later, there's a lot of star parties going on. A lot of that information gets shared over the Google groups. So those are kind of considered private star parties. And so if you're interested in making it out to some of those events, definitely reach out to us. The cost, not too bad. Individuals, $25, families, $35. So only $10 more if you're student, 15, senior, 20. So the rates are pretty good, and that's per year. So if you're an individual, it's a little bit more than $2 a month. So it's not too bad. If you have any questions, you can email us at membership@bsasnashville.com. And that'll kind of get the ball rolling, and we can answer anything that any questions that you have. In order to become a member, you'll register through a website called Night Sky Network, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then once you register through that, you'll come back here, submit your payment, and Keith, who's not here, will do his little magic on his end and add you to our rosters. Okay? One of the other perks of being part of the club is that we have loaner equipment. So if you don't have a telescope, but you're interested in looking through one, borrowing it, we have telescopes for loan, and it's just included in the cost of your membership. So technically it's free, but you're paying dues, right? Or if you're interested in purchasing a telescope and you just want to see if you would like to carry a Dob around or like to carry an SCT or a Newtonian, we have a variety of different types. And so the list for these is on our Google group, which is accessible through being a member. And there's a variety on there. So from beginner level to intermediate to a little bit more advanced scopes. And so we have a lot of people in the club that can help out with these things. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. If you do have a scope with us, let us know how you're doing with it. Let us know that it's safe and sound. Let us know that you're enjoying it. Let us know that it's working. If you're struggling with the scope, again, we have people that know a lot about telescopes that may be able to help out with anything you have. If you're looking through a scope going, why is this so fuzzy? We can go, well, that's what you're going to see. Or, yeah, that's a little off. We need to collimate it. You go, what's collimation? And I go, well, you didn't attend my meeting last month. Then we know that, right? So if there's anything we can help with, reach out to us at info@bsasnashville.com or equipment@bsasnashville.com. All right. A couple other things. I mentioned the Eclipse newsletter. There's a link here that gets you to this where you can look at all the PDFs that we have so far. April is where we were at, most recently uploaded. But if you're interested in a little bit of history, it goes all the way back to 2001. So it's pretty cool, the PDFs to go back to there. I just always enjoy looking at that. Now, there's a few other ways that we like to communicate with the public and communicate with members. Here you see there's a discussion forum, which will take you to the Google Groups link. But there's also a couple social pages here that we'll cover real quick. I would say that we're most active on Facebook. Thank you, Donna, for helping out with that. We're at 2.4 thousand likes, 2.7 thousand followers. So again, 300 people follow us but don't like us. Facebook's funny, but we post a variety of things. Theo's really big into the Dark Sky Initiative. Believe that she's the president of our local chapter. You can see here that there's a really cool event going on through Dark Sky International. And what this is they're encouraging you to take pictures of the dark. And I clicked on it because I'm into astrophotography as well, and it seemed intriguing. And so when you click on the link in there, you come up with this, and it runs through a whole bunch of different pictures. And up here are all of our interesting things. And here you see it's a photography contest. Of all the things, I don't think I looked at what the prizes are. Anyways, if you click on this gallery here, there's a whole bunch of eye candy, so you can see what competition you're up against. In the category, there's a whole bunch of things that you can submit into. I thought it was really interesting that they have, the impact of light pollution and creature of the night. So it's not just like taking pictures of the stars. It's going out during the night and experiencing the world around you, which is really a big part of what the Dark Sky Initiative is for, right? Because it's not just us that are crying because we can't see the stars. It's animals that are being affected and everything like that. So it's really cool. There's also mobile nighttime photography as well as young astrophotographers. So kids, I believe 17 and under can submit there. And if I remember, you can submit um, three images per category. And so it's a pretty cool little thing. So if you like contests and things like that, it's pretty cool. And so the link to that, our Facebook is here, and you can get that information. On Instagram, we have a few things going on. I know we got some pictures that'll be coming up shortly, but here you can see that we're pretty updated on the upcoming star parties going on. It's a good place to kind of start budgeting your time if you're interested in getting out and seeing the stars with the public. Our next public star party that we have on our calendar, I believe, is at Montgomery Bell, and then we have the next day here at Cornelia Fort Air Park at Centennial towards the end of the month, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. If you're a photographer and you would like to share your images, feel free to reach out to us. If you would like us to share it on Instagram, we will definitely do that. Just include your handle so we can give you credit where credit's due. You can email it to us, or beware that whatever you post on Google Groups may show up on our Instagram. We're like, hey, this is cool stuff. Even if you're like, it wasn't the best, it's still pretty cool, right? Because we get to see stars, and it's pretty amazing. Let's see. I wanted to just kind of point this out. Last month, I brought up Jeffrey Horn's Spaghetti Nebula, and I joked about his 569 hours, 4 minutes, and 30 seconds of integration time, which is outstanding and it's amazing. But as I was going through looking at the Google Groups, found some cool things. One of our members shared this, that he was featured in DIY photography, and also on the cover of Amateur Astrophotography. And so it's pretty cool to have that quality coming out of Nashville. And he's doing all this, I think he said 3 miles from downtown. So not the super dark skies that you would think of. But so really talented astrophotographer. As I mentioned, the Google Groups, once you get access to this, or once you become a member, request access to this, and we can let you in. We try and keep spammers out and things like that. And so we have to let you in, but there's a couple cool things on here to find. First off, our equipment list. If you're, like I said, if you're interested in borrowing a scope, this tells you what's there. And you just click a link and it'll pull up your email and have everything hopefully filled in so you can send it off to us, and we can get something borrowed out to you. For private star parties, we have access to the Natchez Trace Parkway overnight, which is pretty cool because if you don't have access, they will roust you out of there. The cops don't like you sitting there doing nothing, and they will come and shine bright lights in your eyes. And so with this, we have a permit. And so if you do go out there with us, or you're out there overnight, make sure you have a permit on you to, basically say that, we're there, we're not doing anything nefarious in theory. But that can be found here. There's a couple other things on here that always show up. There's a lot of communication about pop-ups in terms of like, hey, there's a cool sky. We finally have a clear night. It's Tuesday. Who wants to go out? Right. So we'll meet in Franklin, or we'll meet somewhere else to try and just get under some sky. There's a variety of star parties that aren't um, on our public calendar just yet, because we're trying out places to make sure that they're well attended and that we can bring scopes to them. And so you'll see that there's a lot of things like at Henry Horton and Cedars Lebanon and War Trace and things like that. So there's a lot more star party activity, especially as we're going through the summer. So if you're interested in that, you can find some of that there, as well as people just talking stories and stuff. Like I have a member here who's away and basically talking about sharing the sky. Wanted to go out and get some images done and just start talking to people. And outreach comes in many different ways. So we love sharing our hobby with people, and so there's cool stories in there. I know Keith posted the other day his fun with trying to figure out how to use his new toys and filters and things like that. And it's nice to see that some of these people that are really good at imaging and really good with astrophotography still kind of beat their head against the wall trying to figure things out, because that's where I'm currently at. So a lot of really cool things up here. And as you sift through, there's number of things for most people. We've also started kind of putting a collection together through AstroBin. If you're a member of AstroBin, feel free to poke us and we'll add you to our BSAS group. I'm a member. I haven't posted anything because my stuff doesn't look like that just yet, but it's amazing. I hopefully will get some time to do some editing on my pictures, but there's a lot of talented people in our club. And from what I've gathered talking to people, everybody's more than willing to help out and share. So if you're struggling with, hey, I can't get this to work, I can't get my focus to work, what do I need to do if I have this filter added? There's a lot of people with that knowledge that'll help us out or help you out. So again, if you also like eye candy, AstroBin is an amazing place to go to because people are posting these images all the time. As I mentioned on the membership page, if you're interested in becoming a member, we ask you to register through Night Sky Network. Night Sky Network is a page put up through NASA and run through JPL. This is our QR code for where you would register. Here you can see our calendar of events. I did take that today. I was putting this together this morning, and so I wanted to make sure my screenshot was accurate. Here you see our monthly member meeting. We have 2 public star parties coming up, Montgomery Bell, Cornelia Fort, and then July's monthly member meeting. And so if you are logged in, you will get access to see when the private star parties are as well. And so the private star parties are typically held either at the Natchez Trace or some other dark site, and that's usually where we get together and bring out our own scopes for our own enjoyment, and not necessarily doing outreach, but doing imaging and going after our own little targets and hobbies. As far as Night Sky Network goes, it's more than just membership things for our club, but they have a lot of really good articles on there that I always like to point out because people go, like, I remember when I first joined, I think I just registered once and I never went back. And then whenever I got told I needed to log in and do things, I started realizing that, oh, there's a lot of really cool articles on here, and it's really beginner friendly. This month, they're really promoting the sun and the various properties of the sun and things like that. And so this is one of the articles on there. There's also little groups of activities and cards and things like that that you can do outreach. They sent us hard copies of them, which are in here. So if you're interested in looking at those, I can break them out. But they're really pushing the sun. the kind of going along with the sun, our summer solstice is 20th, this 21st, 2021st, one of those two. So it's coming up pretty quick. So we're almost summer. Um, but they have a really cool article on their seasons of the solar system. And so when they're looking at Mars, like Mars is in there, and it's essentially the seasons are twice as long as they are here because it takes Mars twice as long to get around the sun. Saturn, I think the seasons are 27 years long, and poor old Neptune here, seasons are 40 years long. And so it just means that they're really slow to go with that tilt. And so the people that know more than I do with Hubble said that this is, the lighting up means that it's kind of closer to the sun, which makes sense. So it's kind of them going, we know what we're doing and you don't. Um, they also posted next month's night sky notes, which is pretty cool because it's getting into some of my favorite things in the sky. I really like looking at the scorpion down here. You can see the tail coming up. The Rho-Fucii complex. That name always kills me, but it's a really beautiful region to image. That is James Webb, right? Like that's something that that would be amazing to get. But it's a really beautiful little region right there, and it's right at the base of the Milky Way, and so you could see a lot of these clouds coming up through here. Um, with the Night Sky Network, they always post like cool things that are happening in the sky. And so kind of pointing out, there's the Cat's Paw Nebula, Baby Scorpion Cluster, and then there's a couple other things up this way, if I remember, that you can go after. And so it's just kind of giving you ideas of, hey, if you're looking for something to do this month, check these out. Also on the Night Sky Network page, again, it's kind of built towards outreach. And so there's a lot of really cool things. If you're interested in star parties, going and things like that, but you like interacting with the public and talking to people and promoting astronomy, feel free to come on the other side of the telescope and help us interact with the public. And a lot of people, are intimidated because they don't know as much as the person next to them. But there's a lot of really cool things on here that can help you prepare if you wanted to go out to a star party. There's these outreach resources, Night Sky Planner that shows you kind of what's in the night sky right now or what to expect, and things like that. And I always like to click on those to see what we got. They always show you what the current moon is like. And so this was today. We're in the last quarter, so we're pushing towards a new moon towards the end of the month, which as somebody that's going out of town to a dark sky site on Friday, I'm hoping that the clouds stay there, but I just jinxed myself. They also have over here a couple links. The Clear Sky chart gives you a big map of all that data that I showed you at the front end with the hopeful dark sky for Nashville. That's the map where it all comes from, and there's a lot of information there. So if you're an information junkie, click on that, and it'll take you to some really cool things. They have sky maps on here. If you've never used a sky map, they're pretty cool. They show you what's in the night sky. Here would be the Milky Way coming across. And so as we get into the summer, it's Milky Way season is starting to come up a little bit more overhead. But the, bright stars kind of come through here, south, north. And if you haven't used a planisphere before, definitely reach out to the club or to some people that have done this for a while, and I'm sure that they can kind of orient you. On the back of this evening sky map, they have a lot of really fun things as well. Things that you can see with the naked eye, things you can see with binoculars, which are great to get familiar with the sky. You can learn star hopping and how to get from one thing to another. If they tell you, I'm looking at the Whirlpool Galaxy, and you're like, I have no idea where it is, and you can figure it out and look at these things and kind of star hop over. And it's a good way to get used to the sky. And then they tell you some really cool telescope objects, things that'll definitely be better through a scope. A lot of these things are dim or really small or both. And so you need some sort of assistance to see them. And so that's a pretty cool feature. And these are just free to the public. You don't have to be a member or anything. I started pumping this probably 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whenever I clicked on that link and went, oh, cool, because I'm still learning stuff. For longest time, Spot the Station would run through email and text messages. and you had to sign up every year so that they would continuously send you stuff. And I forgot to sign up. I don't know, like 2 years ago, and I haven't received them since. So I clicked this. I was going to sign back up again, and I found out they have an app. It's awesome, right? So I can just put it on my phone. But then last month, I saw this download NASA Spot the Station app because they are going to be shutting down June 12th. And I went, uh-oh. And so I promoted it last month saying, hey, you better download this because 4 days ago, apparently it happened. And so when I went today and I clicked the Spot the Station link, it took me here. And so there's no more Spot the Station website. And so they're going to push everybody to the app. So if you're interested in doing station things or finding ISS and things like that, you may have to go through the app, but I'll show you another website in a second. But as I was scrolling through the site, they have a little, hamburger thing here that you can tag and it'll pull down a menu. But they, have some cool information, 16 orbits each day, 51-degree orbit inclination, things like that. Here's where you can get a link to download the app, either through Apple or Google Play. This is what the app looks like on the Apple. And so when I downloaded it, I naturally wanted to play with it. This was today at 2:04 in the afternoon. It showed you where the space station was, and it shows you kind of how it's tilting down 51 degrees. Then here, if you click on the tracker, it'll show you, the track it's going and how it's supposed to come back around. And then if you click on a few of these things like resources, or sorry, see, where was it? If you click on this button here, it'll take you to a list of the upcoming sightings, and you can filter these out. Like I only want really good ones or ones that are a little bit brighter in the sky, not horizon huggers. Here I have greater than 30 degrees and longer than 2 minutes. So that's going to get them the ones that are a little bit higher in the sky so I can see them and wave to the astronauts. But notice everything's in the morning. I'm probably not going to catch those because I have kids. But I think it was last month or the month before we had a bunch of really good sightings in the afternoon or in the evening. And so that was really cool there. In the resources tab here, they had a lot of really cool things, and you can go through and see some cool stuff. I was really excited to see this live stream because, hey, space station on the phone. And I clicked on this because I was like, let's see what the astronauts are looking at right now. And this was the live stream. They were in the dark. So that was my luck today. But it's pretty cool feature. I could hear them talking. And so it was kind of cool listening to them talk back and forth to mission control. If you are interested in space station crossings and things like that, and don't want to get through on your phone, there's a cool site called Heavens Above. You can see here all the things that they start to track: ISS, Yangyang, which is the Chinese space station, and a whole bunch of other things. Hubble comes through here, and it's really good at, like, if you click on one of these, it'll tell you times and dates when things are expected to go through. So when I clicked on Nashville, so this is the Heavens Above, the actual website. This is set specific for Nashville. So if you wanted to snag that, notice I put the Heavens Above and the music sign. I thought that was pretty clever on my own. It shows you the date, the time, and you can see that we have a whole bunch of these crossings really early. Well, I think it's really early in the morning. Some people are just getting up and started at that point. Tells you how high they get and how long it'll last. And so it's pretty cool that you can get access to this. So if you're sad that the website has gone down from access from Night Sky Network, we still have Heavens Above. Okay. All right, almost done. As far as previous events and outreach, I know Chuck has been doing a lot of full moon picking parties. He isn't around. We've had a lot of really good turnout there. Chuck's been doing it for a really long time. And so I really appreciate him going out there and putting up a scope. I know he does some solar viewing out there, as well as sky, deep sky or sky viewing. Full moon picking party, I believe that he said that the moon wasn't out that day, so they kind of timed it wrong. So it could have just been, I guess, the picking party. Then on Saturday, Steve, did that make?
It's canceled.
It was canceled.
But FYI, it's been rescheduled.
for this Saturday.
Okay,
So it's not an official BSAS Star Party, but it's a Hidden Lake, Harpeth River State Park is sponsoring it.
Okay.
So this Saturday, Hidden Lake Trail, 9 to 11.
gotcha. You post that on the group?
It's in the Google. Yeah,
Perfect.
I'll post it again.
Awesome. See, Google Group, it's where it's at. And then on the 30th, Chuck did another little bit of outreach at Montgomery Bell. He did solar early and then had some time for the little bit darker sky towards the evening. And it sounds like it went pretty well there. And then Bell's Bend, I believe it made. Did anybody make it to Bell's Bend? It did make.
It was too.
It was because
We all just kind of stood around and talked.
which it could be worse ways to.
Yeah, we just drove out there, set everything up and then sat around.
Nice.
It's fun.
That's- see, whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Camaraderie. Did you talk to the public at least? Well, there's
But that was right after those forest fires.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, you couldn't even see but two stars in the big dipper.
Yeah.
The moon was like orangish, reddish. But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
a little bit of outreach. Still, it counts. As far as upcoming events, on Saturday the 21st, we have a private star party out at the Natchez Trace Parkway. If you're interested in going, post on Google Groups, see if anybody else is going out there. Not that it's a scary place to be, but some people just don't like being out there in the middle of the dark on some road parked off the side of the Natchez Trace. Me, I don't mind too much, but it's also, again, as Tony said, fun to be with friends sometimes. On the 27th, Chuck is doing another event at Montgomery Bell, solar, starting about 6:30 to about 8 p.m. ish. They had 6:30 to 8:30, but I noted the sunset is at 8. So depending on, I guess, where the sun is, I don't think he's going to get to 8:30. So I put 8 p ish. And then he's going to take off the solar filter and do some, a little bit of star hopping, I'm sure. And then on the 28th, we're going to do a public star party out at Cornelia Fort, which is at Shelby Park. Did I say Centennial earlier? It's Shelby Park, downtown, right next to the river. And it's going to be from 9 to 11. The reason why it's so late is because sunset's getting later and later till we flip over and it starts coming around the other way. So a lot of really good opportunities to go out and look at the night sky. Let's see. The last thing. Our next member meeting is July 16th. So again, it's the third Wednesday, 7 p.m. It'll be on Zoom and hopefully YouTube if I remember to hit the buttons. Speaker to be determined, but from what I've heard, Theo has been poked to give kind of like a tour around the night sky. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of, but we'll send out more information as we get close to there. Now, as for the events for tonight, kind of coining this as the summer telescope workshop. So if you've brought a telescope or if you have any questions on telescopes, feel free to stick around and ask us. If you're returning a monster telescope, feel free to stick around and drop that off. If you would like to see a Daub, which is a type of mounted telescope, we have a couple of those. If you're interested in borrowing a 6-inch or 8-inch Daub, definitely let us know, because we'd rather have it in your hands than in the storage unit, which is conveniently 5 minutes down the road now. And so with that, this is what I posted last time, and essentially what we're looking at in terms of telescopes. And with that, I'll shut it down. Anybody have any questions or business that they'd like to bring up before we officially end? All right. Good deal. Well, thank you everybody for coming today. If you would like to stick around and enjoy some camaraderie. I don't know what all is going to happen in the night sky in terms of rainstorms, but I do know that stores are supposed. What's that? It's coming in. Yeah. So I know there was a question about the big scope. I don't know. We definitely won't be able to look through it, but I don't know if he'll open the door. Steve, do you know if he?
Not sure.
Yeah.
All depends on the weather.
Yeah. But if we can ask and see. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. If you want to stick around, feel free to come up and talk. All right. Have a good night. All right. I said quick and dirty today. All right, let me do this. Hang on a second.
Now, I'd ask Steve on that thing, maybe if you could make a recommendation regarding like a book on astronomy and like telemetry. He had a good recommendation for astrophotography.
Okay.